Hello, another quick vlog today. Sad one though, I struggled with a few bits. So this is how the car is again. I put my first gearbox on with a clutch, got it all on the floor ready to go for a test drive. Could not get it into gear. So I thought maybe I'll put the clutch plate in backwards. Maybe I've got a bent clutch fork. Maybe my release bearing's just something I didn't do it right. I don't know. So I took the box off and I thought if I'm taking the box off, it was an unknown box anyway. It was 50 quid. Crunchy third. I thought this will get me going until I can afford a proper box. I bit the bullet. Thank you, credit cards. I bought a new box. 56,000 mile box. So I took it all off. And as I was putting my clutch back on, I was going around doing each bolt up. And as I was laying there and they all bottomed out, I noticed that there was about 0.5 millimetre gap between the clutch cover and the flywheel. My bolts were like 0.5 millimetre too long. So, that was a problem. I put some washers on to space the bolt back a smidge, retorqued it down, new box on, filled it up, put everything back together. And it drove. Here's a little clip of it driving. So I must have gone up and down twice. I let the engine warm up. I've done that twice. Please bear in mind that it was wet and I had 2 degrees of camber where the wheels are in. I hadn't ever set that up. I thought I'd just do a little test drive on it, so it was trying to throw me into the bloody curb. And as I was reversing it back into the garage, the oil pressure light was flickering on idle. I thought, what the hell is that? So I dumped the oil, changed the filter. The oil came out clean. Here's the oil. If you shine the right light in it, you can just see a few particles of swarf. And I thought, well, new piston rings, fresh hone. There's going to be a bit. Again, sorted the toe out, went for another test drive, just a couple of times up and down the road, and it happened again. I thought, right, there's nothing I can do here. I've got to take the sump off and see what's happening. I googled it, O-ring. I can't remember whether I replaced the O-ring on the oil pickup. So I thought I'd just check it all out. Took the sump off. So I'm currently at this stage, and I took a big end bearing out. Here's a picture of what the big end bearing looks like. And then, oh fuck's sake! So, the sump. I tipped the oil out the sump, and it was clean. But there's this really like this swarf, but it's not. You can't feel it whatsoever. So I checked 3 of the main caps and all those bearings are brand new still. It's just the big ends that have got this sort of, the coating's just wearing off. So I assume this is just the coating of the bearing. So I've checked, I took my rocker cover off, I checked some of the main caps on the crankshafts, they're fine. All the pools of oil in the head are clean. There's no swarf in there. So I thought, I was just racking my brains. I was like, what can it be? It's a brand new Toyota oil pump. You know, I've mic'd and plastigaged absolutely everything. So it's the next. It was like today's the next day, and I thought I'm going to check the oil pressure relief valve because again on the forums, low oil pressure, meant to put a washer in here to up it, and then I noticed something. I put a picture, a little video of what I noticed. So, this is the oil pressure relief valve. I was like, let me check that. See that? There's a chunk of metal in there. There's a chunk of metal in there holding it open. That must be the problem. So, here, this little chunk of metal was wedging this open just a smidge. Where did it come from? I have no idea. No idea. I do not know what it is. The only thing I can think of is my original one of these that came on the old block. I was putting in and it snapped. It snapped off at the threads. I thought, that's strange. So I managed to get it out, and I had the spare one off the other block, and that's why I took it apart and cleaned it. So maybe this chunk... Oh, it's you can't go that close on a GoPro. It looks like there's like a knife edge on it. I don't know whether that's part of a thread. So whether it's part of that thread, I don't know. So I'm now stuck between, do I go through the massive effort of getting the oil pump off and checking that, or not? I don't know. I might just put a 1mm washer in this to up the oil pressure on idle anyway, because I want to do some track days in the car and the oil's going to get hot and thinner, so I kind of want to keep the pressure up with that. Obviously I'm going to clean the sump back out, new bearings, and go from there, I think, because an oil pump is an absolute bastard of a job, because how the hell are you meant to get it out from down there? So yeah, pretty sad day with my car, but it can be fixed. First engine I've ever built. This is all a learning curve, and I'm glad I've diagnosed the problem. But where's this come from? That's the issue. I don't know. So that's where I'm at with my car. Pretty sad, but other than that, the engine ran great before that. It boosts up nice. And at the end of the day, I've now got a complete car, minus some new tyres. I've got everything. It's done now. If that oil pressure thing hadn't happened, I'll be getting new tyres and going for an MOT. So, you know, there's nothing I can do. I've just got to suck it up and crack on with it. So yeah, pretty disappointing, but what can you do? But on the plus side, the day before this happened, do you remember me making this clutch release bearing for my dad for his Austin? I'll put a picture in now. From scratch, from this chunk of metal, I made that release bearing, and we finally got to drive my dad's Austin up and down the drive. So here's a little video clip of that. So that's now on its way. So now we can tidy up the wiring on that, put the interior back in, and then we're just going to do a quick blow over on the outside. My dad doesn't want it concourse. He wants to use it rain or shine. He volunteers down an aircraft museum, and they have wicked vintage days and stuff like that. So he wants to be able to drive it down there, you know, every week. So it's not going to be a mint car, but mechanically it should be good. So there's a quick update. When I order some parts and get cracking, I'll do some more filming, and I'll keep you updated on that. So peace, see you next time.